Quick passage, sick Jiao, cannon fodder, 1v1 slice, the kind that is sparse and fragmented. It is recommended to read the off-topic chapter first, and then decide whether to read the first world after reading it. itMo Lingling died in an accident, not just an accident. She just went to watch a lively scene, but it turned out that some of it really couldn't be watched casually. But it seems like she hasn't died completely, pulled into a space and vaguely contracted with a system called Shaomai. The contract system told her that she was dead, but her physical condition was too suitable for the cannon fodder department, so it signed her to do the task of playing cannon fodder at all times. In order to earn points, then become a regular and work in the Time and Space Bureau, so that you don't have to reincarnate and never die. itMo Lingling reluctantly agreed and brought the roasted wheat into the 3000 worlds, but who would tell her what happened to the plot that had been shattered time and time again? Looking at the melancholic and petite male lead and male partners, itMo Lingling said that she only wants to become a full-time employee. World 1. 108 moves of Master Qingleng being imprisoned, in progress. World 2. The stubborn miss in Marisu's CampusWorld 3. To be determined, Novice on the road. I hope everyone likes it. It's okay if you don't like it, but please don't speak too much. P.S. I am a female lead enthusiast, so except for the female lead and the system, everyone is sick and delicate. The original female lead will not be a demon, and the male lead will be sliced in 1v1 slices. Chapter 1. She passed away from the world due to watching a play. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. itMo Lingling felt that no one in this world could be more unlucky than her. She just joined in the fun and died before even finishing the sweet potatoes in her hand. The origin of the matter can only be traced back to that sunny afternoon. This afternoon, she suddenly wanted to eat roasted sweet potatoes, so she went from her dormitory to the street to buy roasted sweet potatoes. After buying, she was strolling on the street while eating when suddenly she saw many people running out of the bank ahead. Out of curiosity, she walked over to take a look. Then, he was mistakenly killed by the robber inside. I also have to work hard and die with a smile today. Okay, if you're dead, then you're dead. So what's going on now? Looking at the white dumpling in front of her who claimed to be making wheat, itMo Lingling fell into deep doubt. Cannon fodder. Because she has read a lot of novels at ordinary times, itMo Lingling soon understood that the thing in front of her, which looks like rice dumpling, is the legendary system. So now you understand, as long as you do enough tasks, we can go to work in the Time and Space Bureau. Shaomai worked hard to promote this job to the seemingly less intelligent host in front of him. itMo Lingling nodded knowingly, realizing that she understood, but she still didn't know what to do. So, why are you looking for me? Because my dear, you are unlucky. You have a natural cannon fodder physique. Look, you can be killed by mistake even after watching a play. Isn't that cannon fodder? Speaking of this roasted wheat, I get excited. It has never seen such an excellent cannon fodder physique before. It's simply tailor-made for it. Okay I promise you, but you need to tell me how to do it. That's no problem. Come on, big baby, take a look at this. I don't know what happened to Shaomai, but a light screen appeared in the space. Shaomai pointed to the screen and explained to her. It's like this, there are male and female protagonists in every 3000 worlds, equivalent to the novels you read. And the corresponding ones are the cannon fodder that supports the male and female protagonists. Although they die early, they are all key characters driving the development of the plot. But due to the continuous operation of the small world, there has been a phenomenon of division, and the cannon fodder has gained self-awareness. The repeated deaths have caused them to resent deeply, leaving their true selves and going on strike. Without them in the 3000 worlds, the plot cannot continue and there is a faint phenomenon of collapse. So my task is to follow the plot, promote the development of the story, and preserve the 3000 worlds. itMo Lingling asked. That's right. Shaomai replied proudly. That's quite great, Mo Lingling pondered as she touched her chin. Okay, I agreed. Oh yeah, scatter flowers. I finally made a contract with the host for burning wheat. Bai Tuanzi happily spun in circles in the air, sprinkling the petals she had obtained from somewhere unknown. Mo Lingling felt that she might have been tricked, but specifically how without much thought, the space twisted and she fainted. Yan Yanzi has something to say. 1. As a newcomer, my writing skills may not be very good, so I hope you can be more tolerant. Whispering, writing is also about practicing my writing skills. In fact, my first book is about writing a wenda that I have been thinking about for a long time. Unfortunately, my writing skills are not very good. 2. For those who love to watch, please leave the top left corner if you don't like to watch. You can leave a comment, but please be fair and not biased. 3. Please don't be shy, this behavior is really disrespectful to the author. Because I usually read a lot of articles and have seen many similar behaviors. 4. Please do not make inappropriate comments in the article if you are in the original circle. I saw a reader from Yuan Danquan talking in a big article before, which was really uncomfortable. No one is more noble than Yuan Dan and Yen Xiao, thank you. As for cancer patients, turn left and go out. If you see a tree, hit it. If you don't see it, hit the wall 5. The update may be slow and I need to attend QAQ. I will try my best to save more articles during this holiday. 6. The female leader is a roast little expert plus a big car dumper. Don't worry, I am a female lead, I will never abuse the female lead. Although she is sick and delicate. Absolutely not abusing the heart, abusing the body doesn't necessarily mean hee. Chapter 2. It's hard to be a master. 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hiss, pain, pain. Mo Lingling took a breath, covered the back of her head, and sat up from the water. In fact, she woke up once before, but found herself standing in a pool, a strange room filled with mist, and white at first glance. Then, she was about to leave the pool, but as soon as she took a step, she slipped and fell, her brain knocked against the edge of the pool, and she fainted with a smile. Unfortunately, there's no one else besides her. Roast wheat. Roast wheat. Roast wheat is almost out. Mo Lingling rubbed the back of her head and called out to the seemingly unreliable system. Ah, here we go, my dear host. The seductive and artificial voice echoed in Mo Lingling's mind, making her face turn green. This is a second-rate system. You shut up, my dear Tong, who is really causing you trouble. She felt extremely heartbroken. What about her big, red-rooted system? Host. What's wrong? Don't you like it? Shaomai asked cautiously. This is the first time it has contracted with a host, and for this host, when studying at a system university, it did not hesitate to visit system forums and summarize its experience based on the experiences of its predecessors. It summarizes the following system types and is the most popular. 1. High cold and elegant style. This type of system is generally very powerful and can provide a strong support pillar to the host, making it the elite among the elites. 2. Lively and cute type. This type of system has relatively average capabilities, but it can provide a lot of joy to the host, chat with the host to relieve boredom, help the host alleviate emotions, and even help the host treat psychological problems. This system is healing and is loved by a large number of homestays. 3. Charming and coquettish aura type. In this type of system function, it can chat with the host from all over the world, and you can chat with it anytime you want, mainly because they can chat with the host. Coquettishly. He, so it is considered a type that is more favored by the host except for the first one. Shaomai felt that it was completely unsuitable for itself and its host. It combined the remaining two and made sure that its first host had a perfect contractual experience. However, it is obvious that Mo Lingling's reaction is not very pleasant, it is a bit square. No, you just need to speak in a normal tone. Mo Lingling hesitated for a moment, but still gave a gentle opinion. Yes, dear. Bai Tuanzi replied loudly and joyfully. The normal tone made Mo Lingling breathe a sigh of relief, but big baby or something, it really makes her blush. Hee hee. Cough. She pretended to cough lightly. Can you tell me the plot first? Good big baby. As soon as the words fell, the overwhelming plot entered her brain, causing her head to explode. Originally, this was a world of cultivation, and her identity was the mirror dust immortal lord of the Lingyun sect in this world, named Yen, who was also a great expert in refining the void realm. But no matter how powerful you are, no matter how hard you pull, in the end, you still cannot escape the crushing aura of the male and female protagonists. In the sect trial, the original master was accidentally sucked into a secret realm for his own disciple, and then demonized. The male master of the Yuanying realm was accidentally killed and his cultivation was taken away, becoming a stepping stone on the male master's path to immortality. Seeing this, Mo Lingling only felt outrageous. Leaving the big picture. What is this, just a mentally disabled plot? The original owner is a great god of refining the void realm. Did you just die so easily? I'm afraid everyone will collapse, right? There are too many slots, so I can't roast. Holding the script, Mo Lingling felt like she was about to vomit blood. How did she understand this? She felt that the original protagonist could still bear it and not directly destroy the world. Killing the male protagonist was already very kind. De Tongzi, are you sure this script is okay? Tiandao really didn't take a nap before writing the script. She said she didn't believe it for 10,000 times. That's for sure. Shaomai happily replied, that's why it's called cannon fodder. Although it also feels that the plot is quite dull. However, the lower the intelligence, the simpler it becomes for the host. Simply drop the cannon fodder and they will complete the task. So, this villain. The plot continued to unfold in her mind, and Mo Lingling looked at the disciple of the original owner, once again lost in doubt. Isn't this guy the villain? As the greatest power in the cultivation world, the original master accepted a demon clan as his disciple. It's not her racial discrimination, it's mainly because you said the original owner was trying to educate the villain, and even if you specifically took him as an apprentice, it's okay. But the original plot is set that the original owner didn't see that the villain was a demon, just because the other person had good talent. Well, Mo Lingling wiped her face expressionless, and the plot became more powerless to roast. As a master of refining the void realm, the original master couldn't even recognize the demon clan. No wonder he was accidentally killed by the demonized male master. Isn't this really outrageous? It's just a force drop in intelligence. Tiandao has really put in a lot of effort for his son. After the original protagonist's death, the male protagonist fell into a coma due to absorbing his cultivation, and was picked up by the female protagonist. The female protagonist used the spiritual spring in her own space to heal the male protagonist and dispel his demonic energy. She found a cave and took care of the male protagonist there for a month. The male protagonist refined the original protagonist's cultivation within this month. When he woke up and saw the female protagonist, he was moved. After learning that it was the female protagonist who saved him and took care of him for a month, he deeply appreciated and fell in love with the female protagonist. The male protagonist, who had refined the original master's cultivation, suddenly crossed the period of integration and led the female protagonist horizontally through the secret realm, obtaining ancient artifacts and helping the female protagonist refine the secret realm. In the later part, there is the story of the female protagonist and male protagonist overcoming obstacles, shaking the world, becoming famous, and eliminating the major villains, sealing the demon clan, blessing the world, and finally soaring together. It can be said that the original owner is truly a complete cannon fodder, completely like the protagonist's temporary energy storage tank. Tai Te Mo is growing grass. Garbage plot. Garbage road. It's all for the sake of cannon fodder. However, This kind of plot is advantageous for her, as she can easily earn points by dying without thinking or putting in any effort, and follow the trend of burning wheat. She feels full of strength all over her body. Points. Becoming a regular employee. She's here. She stood up with great enthusiasm, left the hot spring pool, stepped on the white marble floor tiles, and casually needed a trick to remove the moisture from her body, and changed into new clothes. Walking up to the mirror, although I had already read the plot description, I was still amazed by the original owner's appearance. In the original plot, the original owner is the greatest talent in the cultivation world, and also the title of exiled fairy appearance in the cultivation world. The first beauty. Looking at the person in the mirror who possesses the natural and human demeanor, if it weren't for watching the plot, she would be completely the darling of heaven. The palm-sized melon seed face, with starry eyes that seem to conceal endless mysteries, cold and profound. A small and straight nose, with slightly pursed red lips that are delicate and do not show any worldly charm. Cold and sickly white skin, with a red tear mole at the corner of the eye, making it even more beautiful. 3,000 crow hair hanging behind and on the side of the face, making the figure even more cold and elegant. Like the shining moon in the 9 heavens, towering and cold, noble. TSK, this appearance, this posture, I'm almost bent. itMo Lingling looked in the mirror, holding her face in a daze, tears streaming out of her mouth. Hee, that's for sure. Although it's cannon fodder, we also want to be the best cannon fodder. Shaomai looked proud, this is the body it specifically seeks for its host. Only the best are worthy of its host. In the original plot, it can be said that the original protagonist is the most excellent besides not being the biological one of the heavenly Tao. And it is also the most important cannon fodder. After all, without the original protagonist, there would be no cultivation of the male protagonist, and without the male protagonist's cultivation, there would be nothing later. It can be said that the male and female protagonists would have died in the secret realm long ago. Chapter 3. It's hard to be a master, too. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This way, itMo Lingling touched her chin thoughtfully. It seems that the original protagonist is still well cared for by the heavenly way, although it is only used as an energy reservoir for the male protagonist. How long is it until the apprenticeship ceremony? Returning to the host, there is still over a month left. Over a month. The apprenticeship ceremony can be considered a relatively important plot node. The original owner recruited the major villain as an apprentice in the apprenticeship ceremony, and later the experience-giving event occurred because the major villain was sucked into a secret realm. Moreover, the original owner recruited the big villain as his disciple, allowing him to improve his cultivation, providing experience to the male and female leads. He also made a huge contribution to helping the male lead establish a solid foundation, which can be said to be a very perfect after-sales service. It's a pity for this face. itMo Lingling touched her face and sighed with great pain. The heavens are unfair, dear baby. The heavenly way only treats his Qi-Luck son and Qi-Luck daughter fairly, so let's hurry up and complete the task. Shaomai earnestly persuaded his own playwright and second-tier host. Okay, let's go. itMo Lingling changed her face in an instant, regaining her cold and elegant expression. With a gentle wave of her sleeve, she turned around and left the Qingqi hall, where the roasted wheat was truly breathtaking. So, the host is big. Where are you planning to go? Shaomai watched in her mind as the host went further and further away, completely unaware of where she had gone. Big baby, you. Aren't you a road crazy? Of course not. itMo Lingling rolled her elegant eyes without any hesitation. What are you thinking? Your family's wise and powerful, beautiful and wise host would be a road crazy. Even if you were me, it wouldn't be possible. As she spoke, she also lifted her proud chin to show her excellence. Bai Tuanzi looked at itMo Lingling's second sample, nodded silently, and added in his heart, I am a high-tech product with a map. Of course, he didn't dare to say it, after all, there are some things that he just understands in his heart. Turn left. Hey, right, right, right. No, my dear. Don't you distinguish between the southeast, northwest, and left and right? Wrong. It's on the left. Roast wheat. Where is this? Looking at the gloomy and terrifying forest in front of her, with no light in sight, Lingling felt a darkness ahead. Shaomai is also panicking, this place doesn't look right. No, I don't know. Wait a moment, dear, I'll go check now. After speaking, Shaomai disappeared, leaving her alone to face the unknown ahead. Hey. Okay, let me face it alone. Yes, I can. 4 points. Continuously cheering for herself in her heart, after a while, she finally suppressed her unknown fear and retrieved a night pearl from her storage space. The soft light brought a hint of comfort. She cautiously entered the forest and looked around. This forest. Big baby, I'm back. The sound of burning wheat echoed in her mind, giving her some confidence. It's not really her cowardice, mainly because she has been afraid of such places since childhood. Such a forest always reminds her of the various ghost films she has watched. Big baby, I found it. This is the forest. The name Lin. What the hell, sounds problematic. A gust of wind happened to blow by, causing Lingling to have goosebumps all over her body. This place is really permeable. As the name suggests. The forest is a gathering place for ghosts and monsters, fairies, and so on with heavy energy. Shaomai explained to Lingling rhythmically. In such places, there is usually a deep resentment that can nourish the growth of demons, ghosts, spirits, and beasts. Therefore, cultivators generally do not step on them. Moreover, these places usually appear in places where there have been huge wrongful convictions and deep-seated grudges. For example, families who have been wrongly exterminated cannot dissipate their resentment for a long time, which nourishes and attracts those ghosts and monsters with heavy energy. So, how could this forest appear within the sect? This is not reasonable. Firstly, Lingyun sect is the largest sect in the world of cultivating immortals, and it is impossible to hide evil deeds privately. Other sects cannot ignore it either. It should be noted that the struggle between sects is still very intense. Secondly, Lingyun's sect has a strong immortal aura and is despised by evil and delusions, so they cannot actively run into it. Finally, as the first sect, Lingyun's sect has had countless powers throughout history. At first glance, this forest has been growing here for a long time, and they could not have been unaware of it, but they did not take action to destroy it. There are only 2 possibilities. 1, they don't want to destroy 2. They cannot destroy it either way, it proves the uniqueness of this shady forest. Shaomai, can you find out the reason for the appearance of this shady forest? Looking thoughtfully at the forest ahead, with no light leaking in and mist entwined, it was extremely dangerous. Lingling asked by Tuanzi in her mind. Shouldn't. Okay. The sound of burning wheat was full of uncertainty. It had never tried this function before, but I heard a senior say it was okay. This is the basic function of the system. Then you can help me investigate, Lingling said decisively. She always felt that this gloomy forest was somewhat intertwined with the plot, which may be the excellent sixth sense of women. After a while, Shaomai returned. Host, I found it. This forest used to be the location of a cultivation family, but later on, I don't know what happened. This family was wiped out, and all the disciples in the clan were killed. Blood flowed into a river, and the resentment was deep and could not be dispersed because the energy was too strong, attracting and breeding many evil things, but... Speaking of which, Shaomai is a bit hesitant. To be honest, when it comes to the information it has in hand, all the key points have been missed with just one stroke. But what? It's okay, just say it, it's okay if it's incomplete, Mo Lingling calmly comforted it. She had a premonition that this forest was different, so she wasn't surprised by the information problem in Shaomai's hand. However, for some unknown reason, the powerful members of other aristocratic families did not take action to suppress it, and these people passed away one after another in a short period of time, becoming a major mystery in the cultivation world. Later, those clans who had lost their ancestral protection gathered in front of the Lingyun sect and requested that the Lingyun sect suppress this forest. And then the leader of Lingyun sect agreed, and that's how it is now. Mo Lingling continued, isn't novels usually written like this? Of course not, the host is too big. You thought too simply, Shaomai said meaningfully. Oh. What else can there be to hide the plot? Sometimes the plot is too convoluted, which can make readers very angry. This is her years of reading experience. Humph, of course it's not that simple. Shaomai proudly hummed and continued reading the materials. The leader of Lingyun sect did not agree. At that time, the previous leader of Lingyun sect, Qingleng, refused the requests of various clans and rudely sent someone to throw them out. However, those aristocratic families did not give up. They used cunning tactics to lure many disciples of Lingyun sect into the demon abyss forest, plant them with Huangquan flower seeds, and then use this to force the leader of Qingleng. Under immense pressure, Lord Qingleng chose to compromise. However, he demanded that all the aristocratic families sign an agreement and swore with their hearts that they would not violate the content of the agreement. Later on, it was the head of the Qingleng sect who relocated Lingyun sect to this place, using Lingyun sect's immortal aura to suppress and purify this forest. To this day, there have been no more incidents. Shaomai closed the information and threw it into an unknown corner. Is that all? Mo Lingling felt that this information must be playing with her, and she didn't mention the key point. Ding! The first branch task of the storyline of the canon Fodder Master. Please investigate the truth about the extermination of that clan in the past, and make the truth known to the public to wash away the injustice of the noble family. Task difficulty 2, task reward 300 points. Current task completion progress 0, main task completion progress 0, Yen Yenzi has something to say. I am quite passionate about detailed storylines, although there is also a bit of OCD, so I will fill out all the pitfalls. The mystery of the plot will be revealed. Chapter 4. It's hard to be a master, 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mo Lingling twitched her lips, this sudden task. She really didn't expect that she would even start the task by walking in the wrong place. This luck is out of nowhere. Everything is for points. Everything is for the sake of becoming a regular employee. 300 points. She picked it up. Get up, Shaomai. Can you help me find out how to get out of here first? Mo Lingling, who was full of fighting spirit, felt that the future was simply bright. Great treasure. Shaomai decisively opened the map and guided Mo Lingling to leave here. This time, with meticulous guidance from Shaomai and active cooperation from Mo Lingling, it only took half an hour to leave the forest and surrounding areas and return to the Dust Palace. The next step is to complete the task. Adhering to the principle of finishing and leaving early, Mo Lingling chose to first go to the sect leader to learn about this matter. She put on the original owner's white jade mask, casually needed a trick, and disappeared into the hall. Main hall of the patriarch. A white and noble figure appeared at the door, with a strong aura and a superior posture, as if no one had the qualifications to touch the corners of her clothes. Isn't this Mo Lingling who pretends to be as powerful as the wind? My host's daily attire is like the wind, often accompanying me. Shaomai thinks that his own host is a giant in language and a coward in action, but he also loves to pretend to be coerced. For example, now. You see her walking into the main hall with a cold expression on her face, observing it calmly, staring straight ahead. Unable to continue actually, she's just chatting with Shaomai, her eyes wide open. Shaomai, do you think I look like Master Qingleng from the novel now? Like. It must be like. Not to mention anything else, it is the faithful licking dog of its host, Big Baby. Shaomai, what do you think this sect leader will look like? Is he a kind old uncle or a handsome young man? After all, the higher the cultivation level, the more perfect the appearance. Lingling was very curious, and she had read a lot of cultivation novels in her daily life. She had always longed for these things, after all, who wouldn't want to live forever? In modern society, some science enthusiasts have done countless heinous things in order to achieve immortality. Human experiments are taboo against cloning. TSK, humans are like this, they can completely disregard the interests of others for their own selfish desires. How did you say that? People who lose their conscience are demons themselves. Perhaps, who knows? The original owner lived in seclusion all year round and had almost no impression of the patriarch in her memory. Shaomai shrugged its non-existent shoulder indifferently. It is a high-tech product of the Time and Space Bureau, completely free from human troubles. Just as she was wandering around the world with Shaomai, discussing life philosophy through poetry, songs, and essays, the legendary leader of Lingyun's sect appeared. At the moment of seeing the other person's true face, Lingling and Shaomai exclaimed, as expected. The patriarch is a kind and amiable grandfather with a white beard, but it is not difficult to see how handsome and charming he was when he was young. With clear eyes, a resolute face, and an outstanding figure, he must have once wielded a sword in all directions and stood proudly at the top of the clouds. I don't know why Mirror Dust Immortal came to me. The old master interrupted Lingling's thoughts calmly. She quickly straightened her figure with a serious expression and said, I want to inquire about something from the sect leader. Lord Lingyun stroked his white beard, looking puzzled. Mirror Dust Immortal Zun laughed and said, Is there anything you don't know within these 6 realms? You don't want to play with me for leisure. The other party looked incredulous, and Lingling calmly replied. Is it a pastime? Grandmaster, why don't you listen to it before making a final decision? Besides, even if it's the cultivation of immortals in the 6 realms, how many dirty and obscene things are there that I don't understand? There's no need for Mirror Dust Immortal to investigate the murky matter, as it has tarnished his own ears. Lingyun Patriarch snorted coldly, indifferent. In his opinion, Lingling, a talented young person, still had too little experience and was unaware of the evil in the world. Lingling took a deep breath and silently recited in her heart. The other party is an elder, cannot be resentful. If you get angry, you won't be a good socialist youth. I can bear it. It's like this. The reason why I'm here this time is mainly to inquire about the shady forest behind the mountain, Master. Lingling lowered her posture, spoke sincerely, and asked with sincere eyes, May I know the origin of that forest, Master? Upon hearing this, Lord Lingyun's face suddenly became extremely ugly, his eyes extremely complex, and he stared at her without saying a word. Lord Lingyun's face suddenly became extremely ugly, and his eyes were extremely complex. He stared at Lingling silently. Lingling felt that she might have guessed right. Lingyun's sect leader must know about this forest and knows it in great detail. Perhaps, this matter of the forest has been continuously inherited by successive feudal lords. With this in mind, Lingling's tone became even more firm. Please inform me, Patriarch. Go back. Lingyun Patriarch withdrew his gaze, casually threw down 3 words, shook his sleeve, turned around and entered the back hall, leaving Lingling standing there with a bewildered face. She is okay, she understands. After all, it's a secret of the sect, and the other party's attitude is also beyond reproach. Long live understanding. She patted the non-existent dust on her body and put on her indifferent expression, then turned around and left the main hall without any nostalgia. Since we can't find it, we can only investigate it ourselves. After the white figure completely disappeared, a pair of white boots stepped in from the back of the hall, staring at the place where her back disappeared with deep eyes, never moving away for a long time. Inside the Lingfeng Jingchen Hall, on the spacious and pure white hall, a woman in white constantly paced back and forth, murmuring something in her mouth. What should we do? What should we do? TSK. What exactly should we do? Mo Lingling felt like her head was getting bigger, and the sect leader didn't want to say anything. She didn't introduce everything that was supposed to be introduced in the materials provided by Shaomai, so she had no way to start. She's just a junior student, why did she come to work as a detective in the immortal realm? Mo Lingling howled impatiently as she looked up to the sky. When there was no one around, she didn't need to restrain herself at all. She was just a floating cloud, like a divine horse. Big baby, weren't you quite calm when you left the main hall just now? Shaomai chewed on melon seeds while curling up her short legs, leisurely delivering a fatal soul torture to her own host on the brink of madness. Calm down. Calm down, damn it. That's what I call a loser, no loser. Mo Lingling crossed her waist expressionlessly. I can't just stick my hot face to my cold buttocks and get close, can I? The old sect leader doesn't even want me to know, and it's useless to just stick to his face. It's also a roar. Shaomai changed her posture and cracked melon seeds in a regretful tone. Hey, do you think? Is it possible that this underworld is related to the characters in the main storyline? With a flash of inspiration in her mind, Mo Lingling asked Shaomai thoughtfully. Perhaps. Maybe. Shaomai hesitated in her tone. It is also the first time it has taken the host to do a task, and I am not familiar with these things. Posts about the world plot on the system forum are strictly regulated, and I have not seen anything about it. So that means it's possible. Mo Lingling decisively grasped the uncertainty in Shaomai's words. Shaomai said solemnly, I'm not quite sure about the specific situation about this matter. The world plot is usually very large, with a lot of side stories, so what you said, the host, is not impossible. Let's start with a few key figures first. Mo Lingling quickly concluded after listening and determined the direction of the investigation. There are only 3 main characters in the article. The male lead, the female lead, and the main villain. If you insist, there is also an important and affectionate male supporting character. This male supporting character is named Gong Yan, the 36th generation single-handed disciple of the Gong family, with excellent talent. At the age of 21, he is already in the middle stage of the Yuanning period and can be considered a genius among geniuses. Unfortunately, he met the female lead, his dream lover. So he crazily fell in love, obsessed with pursuing the female lead, crazy for her, banging against the wall for her. In order to help the female protagonist cultivate, he searched for all the treasures in the family and searched everywhere after finishing the treasure. The female protagonist is poisoned and seeking an antidote. The female protagonist's foundation is unstable, looking for spiritual grass. The female protagonist did not have a weapon to weigh her hands, so she went up to the Sword Mountain and found the Phoenix Fire in the Fire Sea to exercise her unparalleled artifact. This guy can be said to be the most determined rival of the male lead. But no matter how affectionate you are or how beautiful you are, the female protagonist just doesn't like him. Finally, the female protagonist was poisoned by an extremely rare poison, but the antidote was in the forbidden area of the Demon Realm Demon Palace. Gong Yan gritted his teeth and led a group of children from the clan to go. In the end, the entire army was destroyed and her life was buried in the demon realm, with no bones left. Perhaps she should be the first to investigate this male lead. Chapter 5. It's hard to be a master, 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Perhaps. Should she be the first to investigate this male lead? After reading this information, Mo Lingling felt that this female lead is really a bit blind. She couldn't even look up to such a passionate male supporting character. It's been 10 years since cataracts were saved. Sigh, with a light sigh, Mo Lingling closed the documents and pretended to wipe the corners of her eyes, sighing with sadness and sorrow for spring and autumn. It's said that the male lead belongs to the female lead. The male lead belongs to everyone. But we can't even get a male lead, we're laughing to death. Hashtag what should I do if my host runs out of the mental hospital? Hashtag Shaomai wiped away a non-existent sweat and Chi-Chiran spoke up, big baby, I think our focus now is to first search for these main characters. Friendly reminder, the task has a time limit. I'll go. Why didn't I mention it when I posted the task? Scared, her feet slipped and she stabilized her figure, then headed down the mountain at a speed as if there were evil spirits chasing after her. Of course, it's to urge the host not to slack off. When the task deadline reaches the last 3 days, a reminder will be given to the hosts to learn from the lesson and actively complete the task. Shaomai lay leisurely in the space, nibbling on cantaloupes and laughing at the situation. Listening to the schadenfreude in the other person's words, Mo Lingling gritted her teeth and now she wants to grill the system. Pit. What a pit. Garbage system. Garbage task. What about the obedient, cute, and everything centered around her at the beginning? She wants to return it. Return. But he didn't know that whether Shaomai liked her or not, he really loved watching movies. This is the same as your bad friend and best friend, who never mind making jokes or even embarrassing you when you don't have any major issues. Big baby, left. Watching Mo Lingling sprint in the wrong direction, Shaomai anxiously pointed her way. Hashtag on the heart fatigue of a road crazy host. Hashtag I wiped my face falsely, and Shaomai felt haggard. It was too difficult, and if I didn't look at it, my own host might get lost. His host is the type that human traffickers love the most. Following the path pointed by Shaomai, Mo Lingling quickly appeared at the top of a cliff. She looked around and found no one, no trees, not even grass. The map of burning wheat is probably not fake. The kind of 9 yuan and 9 pin at the end of the night. Big baby, you can't doubt me. Shaomai is full of grievances. Our system's maps are all very accurate. High technology. There will definitely be no mistakes. The male support must be here. Okay, my wheat and wheat are the best. Mo Lingling earnestly perfunctorily cooked the wheat, arguing. Their plastic contract still needs to be maintained. Upon hearing her say this, Shaomai proudly snorted. It should be around here, big baby, you can look for it. Maybe it's at the bottom of the cliff. Go on. I believe you can. As she spoke, Shaomai made an effort with her short hands to show a yes look. At the bottom of the cliff. Upon hearing the words of Shaomai, Mo Lingling felt her eyes twitching incessantly. Breaking roasted wheat is indeed unreliable. But 300 points. Hush. She fought hard. Flying towards the bottom of the cliff, the lower the light, and by the time it landed, it was already out of sight. It seems that this is not a simple place either. With a snap of her fingers, 2 night pearls appeared on Mo Lingling's side, and the soft light illuminated the surrounding objects. It must be said that the original owner was really rich. Countless treasures in the space. TSK, it's a pity to die too early. After silently regretting in her heart, Mo Lingling began to look at the place. Darkness, oppression. This is her first intuitive feeling, and it must also be some ominous place. Why do these important figures love to gather in such places? She expressed a headache. They had fun and got all kinds of good things, but it was her who suffered. Crying and fainting in the restroom. A deep moan sounded in the darkness, showing a hint of strangeness, stimulating Mo Lingling's nerves and instantly tightening. Who? She nervously looked towards the source of the sound, barely able to see clearly under the light of the night pearl whether it was a man or a man heavily injured. Mo Lingling did not answer either, but silently summoned her own weapon. Those who appeared in such a place must not be simple characters. She must always be vigilant, and in case of an accidental death, she would not be worth the loss. She must always be vigilant, in case of an unexpected death, she will not be worth the loss. What good can I do to save you? Mo Lingling remained unmoved. She was not the kind of silly and sweet female lead. She has been an orphan since childhood and has long experienced the vicissitudes of society. Although she is not a cunning and malicious person, she is not a pure and virtuous person either. This society has never been kind to you because you are pure and kind. Moreover, in this mystical world, she has never eaten pork and has seen pigs run. She is kind but not just foolish. Help. Help, help me. Her deep and hoarse voice rang out again, pleading for help. Help me. I can help you. Do anything. Anything, anything. Words have no basis, words in black and white can still be torn apart, let alone your words. Learning to leave a way for oneself has always been her life motto. I can. Swear by a demon in my heart. The other person seemed anxious, with a hint of urgency in their tone. Don't leave. Mo Lingling remained silent, contemplating the feasibility of his words. But in the eyes of the man, it was the woman in white who didn't want to save him, and a bit of despair couldn't help but rise in her heart. Please. There were 2 stages of hope mixed in the imperceptible voice, 3 parts gloomy and sad, and 4 parts desperate. Perhaps touched by the voice of a man, Mo Lingling felt that as a progressive youth of the new era, we must follow in the footsteps of XXX, be a kind-hearted, helpful, and courageous young role model. This man, she saved him. You just like his voice. The values are all fleeting clouds. Woman, I have seen through your essence. Shaomai's indifferent face. Oh, don't worry about so many details. Maybe the other person is still the man we're looking for. Sleeping in bed, male supporting. Mo Lingling was startled and quickly asked the man, what's your name? Palace. Annihilation. The almost imperceptible answer stood out in the eerie silence. Palace, annihilation. I'll definitely save you. Mo Lingling panicked now, who could have thought of it? She just happened to take the wrong path, triggered a side mission, caught a loophole in the setting, and then happened to meet this man, and surprisingly found the first target character. The goddess of luck is indeed taking care of her. You wait. Mo Lingling hurriedly began to dig out space, Yunling grass. Useless, threw it away. Wanyan Dan. What is it? I threw it away. I threw it back. Flame. Flame spirit grass. It's useless. Ling Jing. Ling Shui. It's useless. Medicine. Medicine. Pill. The empty space around is getting fewer and fewer, and strange treasures are piled up into mountains. The woman in white is busy, murmuring the names of various treasures. Gong Yan once again suspected that he had asked the wrong person. Isn't this really an idiot? Life level 9 disability, right? As for Shaomai, she has already hid in an unknown corner, constantly brainwashing herself. This is not mine, I don't recognize her. Ah. Found it. Mo Lingling's face lit up with joy, 1000 machine pill. Come on, take it. She quickly fed the pill to the man's mouth. Open your mouth. This is a good thing. Gong Yan didn't move, of course he knew it was the best pill, so he didn't dare to move. Qianji pill, as the name suggests, has 1,000 opportunities and is rumored to be a divine elixir for detoxification and healing. As long as it hasn't been out of breath for more than a day, if one goes down, it can definitely be saved. But the 1000 machine pill is extremely difficult to refine. Firstly, the alchemist must be at the level of a master. Secondly, the flame must be a Lin flame. Thirdly, the elixir must be at the divine level. And fourthly, the materials are difficult to find. Due to strict conditions, the 1000 machine pill is almost no longer refined by anyone, and all the 1000 machine pills in the cultivation world are left by our ancestors in the past, and half of them are in the hands of the legendary immortal lord of Lingling sect. The woman in front of her, although dressed in plain attire, is not cheap. Her Taoist robe is made of natural silk with fine golden stripes, and she is not an ordinary person. Moreover, she even carries the 1000 machine pill. Chapter 6. It's hard to be a master. 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gong Yan squinted her eyes. Perhaps controlling her for her own use would be a good choice. Gong Yan has completely forgotten the promise he made to Mo Lingling just now. He lowered his eyes, concealed his calculations, and his voice became increasingly weak. It's too precious. Isn't it good? I have nothing to repay. It's okay, it's okay. Before he could finish speaking, Mo Lingling quickly interrupted him. This was one of the mission objectives. When Mo Lingling looked at Gong Yan, she felt the sound of reimbursement appearing in front of her. Ding, congratulations, 300 points have been credited to your account. Ding, 50 points credited. The feeling of receiving money is simply not too joyful. Ha ha ha, hee hee, hee hee. Ah. Big baby, big baby. Big baby, please wake up, the male lead is almost gone. Ah ah ah. The host of the house thought of something strange again. Shaomai covers her face. Although she is very tired, she is a big treasure. 1000-year-old cannon fodder physique. Persistence is victory. The woman in white clothes in front of me remained silent, motionless and expressionless, as if she had seen something valuable but he really can't hold on anymore. Is this woman mentally abnormal? He's going to die. Isn't she trying to save him? I can't stand it anymore. Gong Yan picked up the 1000 machine pill and swallowed it in one gulp. Regardless of him, life is the most important thing right now. A person may not necessarily have something to live with, but when they die, they must not have anything. After swallowing the 1000 machine pill, he felt a new breath in his body, soft and full of vitality, and his injuries were gradually being healed. Is the ATM ready? When Mo Lingling regained her senses, Gong Yan had already swallowed the 1000 machine pill. She just thinks that the ATM is really on the market, actively cooperating, and not too happy. She has already seen 300 points waving at her. Well, since Gong Yan has taken the 1000 machine pill, please fulfill your promise first and make an oath with your heart demon. After all, the story of the farmer and the snake, Ben. I have heard it all since I was young. Many times, knowing the face but not the heart, many things should be treated before they arise, right? The meaningful tone seemed to have already understood his thoughts. Although she often makes mistakes, is often neurotic, and has various facial and vocal controls. Occasionally, she can be so foolish as to anger people, but she is not foolish and has not missed the calculation in Gong Yan's eyes before. Gong Yan, a person like him, can only be controlled by him if he is not restricted. If he is sold, he may even have to count money for him. So for him, the initiative must be in his own hands. Gong Yan fell silent. He thought it was easy to control, but he didn't expect it to be a black person eating black. Make a mistake. Why, don't you want to keep your promise? Mo Lingling raised her eyebrows and didn't care if the 1000 machine pill was fed to the white-eyed wolf. She just casually revealed a hint of threat in her heart. It's okay, but maybe you'll have to spit out that pill for me. Good guy, now he's directly threatening. You don't fulfill it, do you? Either she'll help you spit it out, or she'll kill you. But this option has no difference at all. The 1000 machine pill must not be able to be vomited out. To retrieve it, one can only extract his soul body, extract the pill from the essence, and then he will still die. It's just that the method of death is different, and the former is even more vicious. After refining the essence, the soul will weaken, and it may not even be possible to go to the underworld, so it will dissipate halfway. Silence, tonight is the silent Cambridge. Gong Yan remained silent for a long time, and his thoughts finally returned to calmness. Now, the situation no longer allowed him to have other choices. His injuries had not fully recovered, and he could not defeat the woman in front of him. You have also been exposed to conspiracies and schemes by others. At present, dignity is still alive. There are two paths, two lives. Oh no, the first one does not exist in life and the future hesitate for a fart. Of course it's the second type. Whoever wants to die, he doesn't want to die. Gong Yan nodded solemnly and said, "Okay, I promise you, swear by my heart demon." Mo Lingling nodded elegantly and coldly, "Let's start." Gong Yan's index and middle fingers were clasped together, and he closed his seductive peach blossom eyes. His fingers were pressed against his forehead, and a drop of blood essence was drawn out. He spoke solemnly, "Brother of the immortal cultivation realm, Gong Yan, now swears by the heart demon, which originally meant." "Well, what is your name?" Gong Yan awkwardly turned his head and looked at Mo Lingling. Mo Lingling. "Oh, okay. My younger brother in the cultivation world has lost his uterus. I swear with my heart demon that I am willing to do anything for the life-saving benefactor Mo Lingling. If I violate this, I will fall into the animal path and never be a human." He didn't want to say that, he didn't want to enter the animal path. "The main reason is that I don't know which senior in the cultivation world opened the river and set the rules. In the future, I swear with my heart demon that I can only say this, it's like tears streaming down my face. Today I am also a humble cultivator disciple. Since that's the case, then you can come with me first. When I have something to ask you, I'll ask you." Mo Lingling casually glanced at the injury on Gong Yan's body, and it seemed that it was no longer a big deal. Now he has also sworn, and there are no worries about future troubles. The most important thing now is her mission. Points. Becoming a regular employee. Okay, Gong Yan stood up straight. "But my cultivation hasn't recovered yet, maybe. I can't go up. Although it's heartbreaking, this is a fact. He's basically powerless and willing to be slaughtered. Qianji Dan has treated his external injuries and protected his heart meridians, but the cultivation that was previously scattered cannot be returned." Mo Lingling looked up and saw that it was pitch black and she couldn't see anything. She tilted her gaze and glanced at Gong Yan. "Okay, this guy is really a little useless now." Mo Lingling touched the space, took out 2 mirrors, and threw one back at him. Gong Yan hurriedly caught it, and at the moment he touched the mirror, his expression became a bit flustered. He quickly calmed down, but his gaze towards Mo Lingling added a touch of shock and disbelief. This mirror is called the twin mirror. As the name suggests, mirrors can be connected to each other. Mo Lingling didn't notice his abnormality and explained the usage of the twin mirror seriously. "When I go up later, you can open it and go up through the mirror in your hand. The usage method is very simple. If you wait for the mirror in your hand to start shining, you can inject a little spiritual power. Do you understand?" Mo Lingling asked without looking back. Do you understand?" She turned her head and asked again as she didn't hear the answer. "I understand." Gong Yan buried his head low, wishing to bury it directly in the soil, afraid that Mo Lingling would discover something unusual about him. Mirror Dust Immortal Lord. A respected adult in the world of cultivating immortals. Almost anyone from the 6 realms knows her name. Countless disciples of aristocratic families and countless cultivation geniuses want to join her sect. But she has never taken any disciples, which is a regret for everyone in the cultivation world. Even the young master who once lived on Penglai Island only received guidance a few times because his father showed some kindness to Jingchen. It seems that I am really lucky. This mirror dust immortal lord looks like he came specifically to save him, right? Although I don't know what she wants, it's always a good direction for development. Gong Yen pressed his tongue against the posterior alveolar ridge, his expression dim. Now that I understand, I'll go up first. She didn't want to reveal her identity, and now she's the one who saved him. Mo Lingling naturally called her me. Thank you very much, Mississippi. Gong Yen arched his hand and nodded, saying yes. Since she doesn't want him to know her identity, let him accompany her to continue playing. After all, in the end, it's all about being honest with each other. Mo Lingling brushed her sleeves, stepped through the void, and flew away. Although Gong Yen already knew who the other party was, he was still shocked by the fierce earthquake. Breaking through the void. How abnormal should her cultivation and talent be? I dare not even think about it. No wonder there are so many people, one after another, with hot faces and cold buttocks, rushing to ask for advice from their grandparents. I don't know. Who is so lucky to be her disciple? Gong Yen lowered his long eyelids, his long curled eyelashes trembling slightly, like a butterfly flapping its wings, beautiful yet fragile. Her bright thin lips curved into a ghostly smile. It is said that the moon comes first to the tower near the water, so. Can he be considered a tower near the water now? Yen Yenzi has something to say. The male supporting role is the coexistence of a sand sculpture and a sick girl, Omega. Chapter 7. It's hard to be a master, 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mo Lingling quickly returned to the top of the cliff, took out her twin mirrors, and began injecting spiritual power. Because her cultivation was too strong and her spiritual power was too pure, she only injected a little bit. In an instant, the twin mirror burst out with a huge light. Mo Lingling said. Numb, really numb. Shaomai means. Outrageous, just outrageous. If the twin mirror only teleports individuals, there wouldn't be such a big commotion. In this situation, only 2 mirror holders need to sign a contract. She is really innocent, why is this mirror so pitted? Although inheriting the memory and cultivation of the original owner is also a pit. The kind of 9th level disability in life. For one's spiritual tools, elixirs, treasures, and so on, one may not even be able to name them. Not to mention its usefulness. Mo Lingling's face froze. Do you really need to sign a contract with Gong Yen? She just wants to ask about Yin Lin. Who is going to put themselves in it? At this moment, the other mirror opened. In the open space next to him, a hole as large as a door appeared, and Gong Yen slowly walked out of it. After Gong Yen came out completely, the twin mirrors closed the channel. Mo Lingling looked at the mirror in her hand and didn't react. So. Signing a contract requires injecting equal spiritual power into both sides. Mo Lingling looked at Gong Yen and then at the twin mirror in her hand, and decided to call out Shaomai. Shaomai, Shaomai. What's wrong with the big baby? Shaomai hurriedly put down the snacks in her hand, turned off the currently playing dog blood TV drama, and responded to her kissing her baby. I ask you, Ong, is the twin mirror signing a contract to inject equally powerful spiritual power into both sides at the same time? Well. I don't know either. Shaomai hesitated for 2 seconds and decided to be honest to avoid any further disputes. What do you mean you don't know? Mo Lingling seriously suspected that Shaomai was playing with her. It's such a big treasure. Shaomai saw that her host was about to go berserk, so she quickly spoke up. Our system mainly serves as an auxiliary function, and there is a hierarchy of functions. The higher the hierarchy, the more functions there are. However, I am now just a beginner and only have some basic and emergency functions, so. Are you still an intern? Yes, yes. Shaomai thinks that big baby is really too smart. She understood without saying it. Regarding this, itMo Lingling said. It's because you're too foolish, she's at least a top 985 student. Since she can't find the answer, let's let nature take its course first. This is her consistent attitude in handling things. Let's go. As she brushed her sleeves lightly, a wisp of sweet clover fragrance emanated from her body. itMo Lingling did not pay attention, as the original owner had been planting sweet clover flowers all year round, and to some extent, they would be infected. Mushy flower. So familiar. Gong Yan carefully sniffed again, and a hint of darkness overflowed from the bottom of his eyes. It was really very much like that person back then. If that's the case, that would be even better. Gong Yan followed behind itMo Lingling, spread out his hand, looked at the cold and proud back, and then at the imprint on his palm. Actually, it wasn't without a contract just now, nor was it the need for two equal forces. There are only two types of contracts for twin mirrors. The first type is an equal contract, which does require equal force, so it is generally signed by partners. The second type is a servant contract, where one party is stronger than the other, and the weaker party becomes the servant of the other. The second type of contract is unequal, and even the stronger party can use some means to transfer the damage or even psychological demons to the weaker party. So, servant contracts are basically mandatory contracts. Just now. That's the second situation. Normally, he wouldn't sign a servant contract even if he died, but just as he didn't know what was going on, his mind moved and he voluntarily signed it. It seems that I don't really want to leave her. The other party clearly wants to ask for a favor from themselves, or there is something they need, so when it's over, won't he be useless? I don't want to stay away from her. This thought took root in Gong Yan's heart, his black eyes rippling and slowly returning to tranquility, like a lake of water. You never know what kind of dark tide lurks beneath the tranquility. Fingers clenched one by one, tightly covering the imprint on the palm of her hand. Gong Yan hooked her lips and looked up at the person in front. Mirror dust, immortal lord. Chapter 8. It's hard to be a master. 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gong Yan looked at the pattern in his palm, his face flickering in the shadow, like a ghost or a venomous snake. In an unknown corner, the gears sealed by fate rotate again. We all seem too small in this world, dragging dust and crossing the long river of time, and no one knows what the end of this world will be. Gong Yan put away his thoughts and lifted his feet to follow the thin figure ahead. He didn't know the consequences of doing so, and this one would be the rest of his life. And itMo Lingling, she is arguing with Shaomai about what to do next. Hashtag still a harmonious host and system every day. Hashtag I am the host, I do tasks, listen to me. I am the system, I publish tasks, I have information, listen to me. In space, itMo Lingling felt that one day she would be infuriated by this silly system. Bring Gong Yan back to the sect. Are you joking? Internationally? This girl is a top-level licking dog. If she takes him back, will there still be any treasures left in the sect? I'm afraid even if it weren't for her, she would have to be given to the female lead. Shaomai hesitated for a moment also. Maybe. But if we don't take him back now, where will we go next? To the palace family. When burning wheat, uses its non-existent hand to support its non-existent chin, thus creating a thinking state. It's not impossible either. According to the latest information I have found, there is a palace family among the aristocratic families who forced Chen Yin to agree to help back then. Really, itMo Lingling was pleasantly surprised and her face was filled with unexpected joy. The script she received went back and forth with only a few characters, and the background line of this side task was incredibly vast. She was also a dead horse acting as a live horse doctor, trying her luck by finding the main characters. Unexpectedly, she really stepped on her dog's luck. She wanted to set off firecrackers and liven up. So. Let's go. Shaomai was driven by itMo Lingling, and it was also full of passion. Firstly, everyone gathered together in the space, turning their heads with a gloomy expression and looking at Gong Yan, who was obediently following behind her on the screen. A sinister smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Let him obediently take us to the palace house. This is simple, the grace of saving lives is here. Then interrogate the reason for the emergence of the Yin forest back then. He definitely doesn't know, so we need to use him to threaten his family, although doing so may damage her reputation as a mirror dust, but who cares, can fame be eaten? How many spirit stones per kilogram? Moreover, Jingchen rarely appears in front of the world, and only a few people have seen her, so they definitely cannot recognize her. Completely unaware that due to a twin mirror, itMo Lingling, who had already fallen off her horse, felt that she was simply extremely intelligent. Invincible as before I could finish my emotions, Shaomai mercilessly pushed out her big treasure from the space. #middle school sophomores are full of joy. #returning to her body, itMo Lingling took a deep breath, smiled, and said, I am the immortal lord. I want to be magnanimous, I am the most powerful. I kill people. Poop 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 poop, I save the world. She turned around, clenched her fist, placed it on her chin, and pretended to cough twice. Staring at the young man half a head taller in front of her, he spoke coldly. Since you promised to do anything, now, take me to your house first. Gong Yan lowered his head, his voice tinged with disgust. Do you need any treasures? I can go back and steal them for you, you don't need to go there in person. He didn't want this noble and precious immortal like the moon to be stained with any dust from that filthy place, even if he breathed in the air around that place, he felt like he was blaspheming her. The nails in his sleeves had already pinched his palms to the point of bleeding, and it was only then that Gong Yan could barely hold back those dark emotions. No, I'll go in person. itMo Lingling's nerves were thick, and she couldn't feel the sadness of the person in front of her. What treasure does she want? Does the palace family have more treasures than she does? I was originally a collection maniac, but now there are a bunch of beautiful and useful treasures in the space with fallen ashes. If you have already taken an oath, then fulfill your promise and there is no need to do anything else. No need to say more, just be responsible for leading the way. itMo Lingling impatiently interrupted him. Her task is time-limited, and wasting an extra second would make her sad, okay. Gong Yan gritted his teeth and lowered his head. Under the shadow of the tree, itMo Lingling couldn't see his expression clearly. She felt inexplicably a bit cold. She secretly rubbed her hands, feeling that the male supporting character was really too touching. She couldn't hold back a word for a long time, thanks to her patience. After a while, a muffled, good, came over itMo Lingling, breathed a sigh of relief and said solemnly. In that case, I will make an agreement with you in advance that I will falsely kidnap you and threaten your family when I arrive at the Gong family. However, you can rest assured that I will never harm them. I went this time just to inquire about some old things. Do you agree? Gong Yan didn't answer subconsciously. Don't tell me, you can do anything to the Gong family. Upon hearing these words, itMo Lingling felt strange and somewhat taken for granted. He was truly the male supporting character who had wiped out his family in the original text. He was so filial that he wished he had sold his own father. She nodded and sighed. That's great. Even if you repay the debt afterwards, then we won't owe each other. That's great, her task has also made progress, and she has taken one step closer to becoming a regular and having a small amount of money. Upon hearing these words, Gong Yan felt like he had fallen into an ice cellar, hiding in his sleeve. In an instant, a dagger appeared and plunged into his wrist, causing him to barely maintain his sanity due to the pain. It's strange that even though he just got to know each other for a while, he seemed like he had been drugged by her. In this short period of time, he was actually influenced by her so much. Mirror dust. Mirror dust, he shouted this name in his heart, and with just one more sound, he would fall a bit. What should we do? He doesn't want to leave her at all, just wants to crush her and swallow her. Covering the terrifying obsession in his eyes, he spoke meekly. I'll take you there. You can do anything to me, not count as a life-saving gesture. Mo Lingling gave him a strange glance. Surprisingly, there are still people who don't want to pay off their debts these days. What an interesting soul. But she doesn't want to get too involved with this male partner, and there shouldn't be 1 in 10,000 accidents on her path to becoming a full-time partner. So, the male partner dares to do so. No need, rescuing you is just to use you to ask the Gong family for information. I don't want to follow her anymore. Her implication is that he has no other use except for this matter. She doesn't believe it, so Gong Yan still wants to follow her. Mo Lingling thought proudly and spoke even more arrogantly, help me with the 1,000 machine pill. If I really want you to pay it back, you can't afford it either. Gong Yan fell silent. Mo Lingling thought he had figured it out and urged, hurry up and lead the way, I don't want to waste time. But what happened next surprised her to the fullest. Chapter 9. It's hard to be a master, 8. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Gong Yan let out a thud and knelt in front of her, only to see him prostrate at her feet, devoutly shouting, Master. This master's voice can be described as shocking, sobbing ghosts and gods, which scared Mo Lingling to the point where her mask almost fell off. What are these second-rate men doing? It's shameful to call her master. Her face was like a vegetable, and she was all speechless in capital letters. Swallowed his saliva and said, well, I know you're actually joking, right? She awkwardly, hee twice, who will save her? Unexpectedly, Gong Yan lifted his head and did not conceal the longing in his eyes, even with a hint of grievance. I'm not joking, master. He lowered his head and complained, I really want to follow my master, and I will never betray my master. I beg my master to accept me. No matter what my master does to me, it's okay. He lowered his head, and Mo Lingling couldn't see his expression clearly, but such a beautiful and aggrieved little girl knelt before her, her heart trembling with the cries of, Master. Shaomai, he's trying to seduce me, right? Currently, it seems to be so, are you saying? Should I agree? Mo Lingling shamelessly wiped the non-existent liquid from the corner of her mouth. Roast wheat with a sucking sound, but big baby, he's the male supporting character in the plot, won't this disrupt the plot? To put it bluntly, Mo Lingling looked at the kneeling little pitiful person, full of regret. It is destined to be fate without separation, you. Get up first. Mo Lingling didn't turn her head, afraid that she would be tempted to accept such a demon. No. Master, I have signed a contract with you. If you don't accept me, I will. Gong Yan choked up and hesitated to speak. Contract. Mo Lingling turned her head back, her eyes full of disbelief. What contract? When did we sign the contract? Gong Yan didn't speak, just reached out his hand and opened his palm. The silver pattern symbolizing the master and servant appeared before her, making her dizzy and swollen with thunder. To the north, what are all these things? The female lead's peerless spare tire-licking dog has signed a master-servant contract with her cannon fodder master. Why is he such a dog? Oh no, this guy should be shameless. Mo Lingling gritted her teeth and her voice seemed to squeeze out of her throat. Do you do this? Does your father know? Does your father know that you are so filial? I don't have a father. Gong Yan calmly withdrew his hand. I don't know why, but Mo Lingling always felt that he was very dangerous at this moment, just like the sea. Underneath the calm was a dangerous vortex reef. Ah. Then you stand up first. Since that's the case, you can follow me. After everything is done, I will go find a way to terminate the contract. Mo Lingling wisely did not ask him what that sentence meant. Everyone has their own unspeakable secrets, and a person's thirst for knowledge should never be above the wounds of others. The method of termination. Gong Yan curled his lips and smiled. He had already secretly seen the method of release in the library of the Gong family. And the master servant in the master servant contract is mentioned in that secret book, but it can be exchanged he master, if you want to abandon me. Then let me become your master. Just now, Mo Lingling asked him, without pity, disgust, or blame, but stubbornly changed the topic, earning Gong Yan's favor. He had already imagined the scene of Mo Lingling wanting to abandon him and be hidden by him in the future. God knows how disgusting those past expressions of pity, blame, disgust, or curiosity made him, especially the woman who approached him arrogantly, comforted him, and even taught him. It's extremely nauseating. Someone should have guessed that this is the original female lead, but it's a fake original female lead. The original female lead won't be a demon. I will follow through on my profile, Mo Lingling inexplicably felt a hint of coldness. She quickly shook her head. She was already a master of refining the virtual realm, how could she be cold? Illusions, they are all illusions. Then, take me to your home first. I have some questions that need to be resolved. Finally, fearing that Gong Yan would be uneasy, she added, it won't endanger the Gong family. Yes, master, Gong Yan replied respectfully. As for the Gong family, who cares about their life and death? If you want to directly destroy the palace family, I will personally make your knife. Don't call me master, don't call yourself a slave. Master or something, it's too shameful, it sounds like some indescribable title from a small website. That slave. How should I address you? In fact, he quite likes the term slave. It sounds like he is her exclusive, but unfortunately she doesn't like it. Gong Yan felt a little regretful in his heart. Mo Lingling pondered for a moment and said, just call me Lord Mo, or you can call me Lord Mo. Yes, sir. Mo Lingling saw that the matter was settled, waved her sleeve, summoned the Linglong cloud boat, and flew up. Upon seeing this, Gong Yan followed closely behind and unleashed his spiritual power to fly onto the cloud boat. Lead the way, inject your spiritual power into the front control panel, and you can use your mind to control the cloud boat. Mo Lingling raised her head and gestured for him to inject spiritual power. Gong Yan followed her instructions, controlled the cloud boat, and advanced in the direction of the Gong family. Mo Lingling wandered around on the cloud boat and once again felt that the original owner was really wealthy and had many treasures. How to say, after the original owner died, most of the treasures in the cultivation world were sealed in her personal space with her dust, and various treasures in the cultivation world became even more precious. Every birth can cause turmoil in the cultivation world, even if it is just a spiritual grass. The male lead can also be considered. Picking up sesame seeds and losing watermelons. No wonder people in the cultivation world are crazy and want to join the mirror dust sect. Unfortunately, she only accepted her disciple once and was even tricked to death. Yunzhou is also worthy of being one of the original owner's collectibles and quickly arrived at its destination. Let's go down. Mo Lingling grabbed Gong Yan and teleported to the ground, flipping her sleeves to bring the cloud boat into space. It's strange that the deadline is so short and not urgent. Just tell me where the palace family ancestral hall is, and I'll take you there. Quickly, she's a big shot. Zongtang. Gong Yan touched his chin and pondered for a moment. Zongtang, he hasn't returned to the palace family for a long time, and that's where the younger generation made mistakes and was punished. He's a good disciple and has hardly been there, except for passing by far away. But it seems to be in the northeast of the tribe, right? Gong Yan used his spiritual power to transform a map and roughly marked a location. Mo Lingling immediately wrapped the two with spiritual power, and a white light flashed by, leaving only a refreshing breeze in place. Gongjia Zongtan Gong Linfeng looked at the two people who suddenly appeared in front of him, holding whips and unsure if he should continue to fight. He is teaching his bear son who burned the back mountain a lesson. Uncle Air, it's me. Gong Yen seemed to have missed it and calmly greeted him. Gong Linfeng wiped his forehead and smiled awkwardly. Xiaoyan has returned. Why don't you mention the previous message? And who is this person next to you? Damn it, he thought Gong Yen had already died outside. Although Gong Yen had outstanding talent and was given many treasures for self-defense within his clan, the difficulty of this experience was not comparable to previous years, let alone he had arranged manpower in his team. What exactly is going on? Is it the person next to him? Thinking that Gong Linfeng looked at itMo Lingling with a hint of exploration in his eyes. I don't know what her strength really is. If it weren't for the wrong timing, he would have to explore her depth carefully. Gong Yen noticed Gong Linfeng's gaze and clenched his fists, suppressing his anger. This shameless old man dares to be curious about his master. He will definitely kill him. Cough, okay, Xiaoyan, surprisingly you're back. Let's take the guests to rest for a while, and I'll teach your cousin a lesson first. He raised the whip in his hand and gestured. itMo Lingling looked at the wound of the young master kneeling down and could tell that he had made a big mistake, but this injury was not bad for the cultivator. Then I'll go down first. Uncle, please educate your cousin slowly. Gong Yen arched his hand and smiled as he looked at Gong Jin, his eyes teasing and mocking. Gong Jin was so angry that she trembled all over, and the wound on the whip was bleeding even more happily. Seeing this, Gong Yen smiled even more brightly, and with a good mood, he led itMo Lingling on the way. itMo Lingling silently watched as the three of them clashed strange. This is a bit different from the original plot. Shaomai, could you recite the introduction about the male lead in the original plot for me? itMo Lingling decisively chose to find Shaomai to review the plot. Yes. Big baby. Gong Yen is the legitimate eldest son and only child of the third young master of the Gong family. The third young master of the Gong family is naturally talented and has always been regarded as the hope for the rise of the Gong family. Therefore, since the birth of Gong Yen, the third young master of the Gong family has ascended to the position of family head. Gong Yen perfectly inherited his father's talent, even surpassing the blue in his youth. Compared to his father, his talent was even more astonishing, and it can be said that this father and son had unlimited glory for a time. At the same time, Gong Yen is also the 36th generation single-handed disciple of the Gong family. Single-handed disciple, shouldn't he be the only one in this generation? Didn't his second uncle just have a son, and it seems that the talent is also decent. The single lineage disciples of the Gong family do not refer to only one disciple, but rather to the single lineage disciples who have inherited the innate talents of their ancestral lineage. Shaomai happily explained to itMo Lingling that she didn't expect Big Baby to have something she didn't understand either. As expected, it was a perfect match for Big Baby, solving each other's doubts. The main reason why the Gong family has declined for 100 years and is still one of the top 10 families, and even ranks in the middle in terms of comprehensive strength, is that they have a natural talent inheritance within their clan. The ancestors of the Palace family were very visionary and courageous. Before their death, in order to promote the long-term development of the Palace family, they refined their cultivation and physical body and injected them into the Palace family's treasure, the Brahma Mirror, creating a closed secret realm belonging to the Palace family. Gradually, they even formed a small world where future disciples can enter to experience, stimulate their spiritual roots, and inherit their talents. Among the 36th generation disciples of the Gong family, only Gong Yen inherited the talent of the Gong family's ancestors well. It seems that this palace patriarch is truly wise, and he has played with sustainable development thoroughly. Here you are, sir. Gong Yan's words pulled her thoughts back, and they were standing in front of an elegant door. Signed a contract to avoid a mine. The male protagonist has no 3 views, while the female protagonist has 3 appearances. In my writing, the male protagonist's 3 views can be scattered, but the female protagonist's 3 views must be as upright as a flagpole. The male protagonist is very sickly. Be careful. The author has HT and ID, and would like to see a fan car. You can go there and write about it. Male protagonist's heart and female protagonist's body are abused. The female protagonist has pain shielding, VIP-like, with excellent quality, absolutely no pain can be felt at all. 1v1 slicing, will never merge until the end, so you can also watch as a multi-male lead. Each world has 3.6 slices, and there may be more special worlds, more expensive than adding female and male leads. If you want to see the world, please let me know in the comments. In the early stage of the system, burning wheat, it is better to deal with large waste in the middle and later stages. The most important thing. Updating may be slow. Very slow to readers. 1. You can make comments and occasionally roast, but you can't attack the author personally. You can scold men and women, but you can't scold the book. I accept all rational discussions and criticism, but not abuse too. Try not to criticize, but if you really want to do something else, I may delete the review if it goes too far. Finally, enjoy eating. Chapter 10. It's hard to be a master. 9. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Gong Yan pushed open the door, stood aside, and made a gesture of invitation to enter. Perhaps this cannot be called a house, but a garden. Gong Yan, as the 36th generation disciple of the Gong family and a person who has inherited the talents of his ancestors, has a high standard of living in the Gong family. Just his garden belongs to the top level among major families. A young child with their own separate garden reflects their status and talent. Gong Yan's aesthetic is still very advanced. Looking around, the green bamboo and orchids are spotless, with an ancient and elegant color, pure and elegant. Watching itMo Lingling step by step enter the garden, Gong Yan seemed to see her walking towards the cage he had prepared for her, and couldn't help but feel excited. That's it. That's right, go inside. The world I prepared for you, the cage I made for you. You are so beautiful, there will be many people in the outside world peeping at you with disgusting eyes. You should be with me. Staring at itMo Lingling's back, Gong Yan remained motionless, but her body trembled slightly with excitement. But he didn't expect that itMo Lingling suddenly turned back and met his gaze, taking 2 steps back in shock by the fierceness in his eyes. Be good, no wonder she feels like she's being targeted by something. The male lead's gaze may not be trying to swallow her alive. Sir. Gong Yan lowered his eyelids and didn't dare to look at her. He hesitated for a moment, but couldn't say anything. What can he say? How should he explain? The hand in the sleeve was tightly clenched into a fist, and blood had already seeped out from the area where the nails came into contact with the flesh. No, don't hate him. The suffocation rushed towards him like waves, as if in a daze he had once again met those eyes full of malice and disgust. Although itMo Lingling had a moment of horror, she still didn't say anything. She turned around and threw down Gong Yan, who was clearly in a nightmare, and left cleanly. She is the mirror dust immortal lord. After the human figure disappeared for a long time, Gong Yan finally broke free from his nightmare. His originally fair face was now even more pale and powerless, and his originally bright thin lips were also devoid of blood. Seeing that there was no one in front of her, Gong Yan's heart slowly calmed down. She didn't scold him. That's great. Does it mean she doesn't mind? With this thought in mind, Gong Yan couldn't help but chuckle lightly, pressing his blood-stained hand on his chest to soothe his intense heart. It's okay. Even if she dislikes it, it doesn't matter. He is her, she is also his, and he can use his whole life to resolve it. System space. Although she is very strong. However, she felt that it was still necessary for her to give feedback to her foolish supervisor about the abnormality of Gong Yan. Her path to becoming a full-time employee must not have any accidents. Shaomai, Shaomai, call Shaomai. itMo Lingling hurriedly arrived at the system space and passionately called out to Shaomai. Here we go, big baby. Shaomai, too, rushed out of that corner in a hurry. Shaomai, you need to listen carefully to what I'm going to say next because it's a long story, so I'll make it short. Lingling said to Shaomai with a serious expression on her face. Shaomai. Can your acting have as little IQ as yours? However, it immediately performed and made an effort to lower its voice, saying, You say it. Lingling took a deep breath and said, I suspect Gong Yan has fallen in love with me. Oh no, she probably wants to have me. Shaomai. It seems like I need to troubleshoot the system. How come I can't understand the host's words long after graduation? Big baby. Say it again, what's wrong with Gong Yan? It still couldn't believe it and asked again. I said, Gong Yan may have some mental issues, he wants to take possession of me. Shaomai is stunned. Shaomai was startled. I really want to burn wheat. Why? It reddened the chip but didn't say anything. One person, one unity, without hesitation. Silence spread in the air for a long time before Shaomai slowly said, I know big baby, wait for me to write the report and submit it right away. That's okay, Lingling nodded. It seems like there's something going on, I'll go out first. Noticing someone approaching outside the space, he quickly dodged and left. After pondering for a moment, Shaomai finally reluctantly went to write the report. A good infatuated male supporting character, how can he just move on to another relationship and become sickly? Tongzi doesn't understand, but Tongzi is very sad. You know their system can write reports up to 3 times in a world, so their word count at once ranges from 50,000 to 500,000. Since entering a systematic university, reports have become its nightmare. It often fails exams and has to write reports to reflect on itself. At first it was only 10,000 words, but later on, his predecessors discovered that he was carving decaying wood too slowly, so they fell in love with it and asked it to write reports for review. Gradually, it began to grow exponentially. Moreover, it is said to be a report review, but in reality, it is all a dictation of the exam content, writing about the kind that has not been scored yet. Junk mail supporting, ruin its youth. Lingling returned to reality and saw a man only a few steps away from her. Feng's eyes were waiting to explore, his tall nose bridge slightly pursed his meaty pink thin lips. Sharp edges and clear edges, as gentle as jade, conceal sharpness beneath gentleness and composure. The green silk, like a waterfall, is raised high with a crown of hair, with picturesque eyebrows and eyes, and a long body standing tall in jade. The crescent-colored robe with a round neck design showcases his slender neck. He seemed to hesitate a bit, his eyebrows slightly furrowed, and soon he relaxed again. Grasping the handle of the fan in his hand, he leaned slightly towards her and said, Hello. My name is Gong Yu. Gong Yu. That's really a good name, it matches his temperament very well. Hello, Mo Ling. You don't need to tell your real name even if you're not familiar with it. The previous female protagonist told Gong Yan her real name because Gong Yan had sworn with a heart demon, and Gong Yan was a character in the plot and his cultivation had also dropped. She could kill him by raising her hand, so she didn't want to cover up her name. Gong Yu's eyes flickered, Mo Ling. It may be a feeling that this is not her real name. I don't know why, but he felt a bit disappointed in his heart. She doesn't trust him. This fact cognition makes him very uncomfortable. He didn't know what was wrong with him, but just now, passing by here, he saw a figure from afar. He seemed to have been bewitched and came to her. He said again unwillingly, My name is Gong Yu. Lingling gave him a strange glance. Didn't he say it again? Do you suspect she didn't hear clearly? With politeness in mind, she said again, Well, I know, your name is Gong Yu. Hello, my name is Mo Ling. Gong Yu was defeated. Although she called out his name, she still didn't tell him her real name. He felt a bit embarrassed, but still left dejectedly. Some things you can do once or twice, but if you do too many, it becomes impolite. Perhaps she just doesn't understand. Gong Yu comforted himself like this. Mo Lingling watched as the slightly hunched figure gradually faded away, but in the end, she still didn't understand what had happened to the other person. Sir. The call came to her ears, and Mo Lingling looked over. Gong Yan waved to her. Yan Yanzi has something to say. This book accepts all rational criticism and guidance, and I also hope that readers can provide more opinions. Yan Yan is the reader first, then the author, and finally, I am still a reader. I often examine my own writing, striving to do my best in all aspects and provide readers with better quality works. Therefore, I deeply understand the excellence of criticism and thinking. I hope that my readers can refine it after reading it. In fact, no matter what article you read, as long as you are willing to think, you can more or less extract useful things. I don't know if any readers can tell that I am promoting the construction of the three views. My original intention in writing is to convey ideas. So, everyone must speak freely.